This is the Legal Eagle with an analysis of Muehler versus Mena. To give you some background on the case, here are the facts. Some police officers in California who, as a result of an investigation of a gang-related drive-by shooting, believe that at least one gang member resided in a particular house and was armed and dangerous, obtained a warrant that authorized a broad search of the house for deadly weapons and evidence of gang membership. The police officers, understanding that the gang was composed primarily of illegal immigrants, notified the United States Immigration and Naturalization Service, the INS, of the intended search. An INS officer accompanied the police officers during the search. During the 2 to 3 hour duration of the search, occupants of the home remained in handcuffs in the house's garage and were guarded by 1 or 2 officers and were allowed to move around the garage. Also during this detention, an officer asked each of these people for their names, their date of birth, their place of birth, as well as their immigration status. The INS officer asked the detainees for their immigration documentation. Subsequently, one occupant, Miss Mena, whose documentation had confirmed her permanent resident status, brought a suit under 42 U.S.C. 1983, alleging that she had been detained for an unreasonable time and in an unreasonable manner in violation of the federal Constitution's Fourth Amendment. A jury then found that the 2 officers had violated Mena's Fourth Amendment rights. The Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit affirmed, holding that Mena's Fourth Amendment rights had been violated by her having been confined in the garage while handcuffed and questioned about her immigration status. The officers then sought certiorari review from the United States Supreme Court. The United States Supreme Court addressed the following issue or issues in the following case. Number 1. Do officers violate the Fourth Amendment by detaining innocent occupants of a home in which a search warrant is being executed for the duration of the search? Number 2. Does an officer's questioning of a detainee about a matter unrelated to the alleged crimes covered in the search warrant constitute an unreasonable seizure under the Fourth Amendment? When making their determination for this case, Supreme Court used the following rule or rules. Police may detain an individual while searches being conducted of the individual's home. Now, to bring it all together. In this case, the Supreme Court held that officers executing a search warrant for contraband have the authority to detain the occupants of the premises while a proper search is conducted. Such detentions are appropriate because the character of the additional intrusion caused by detention is slight, and because the justifications for detention are substantial. The detention of an occupant is surely less intrusive than the search itself, and the presence of a warrant assumes that a neutral magistrate has determined that probable cause exists to search the home. Against this incremental intrusion, there are 3 legitimate law enforcement interests that provide substantial justification for detaining an occupant. Number 1, preventing flight in the event that incriminating evidence is found. Number 2, minimizing the risk of harm to the officers. And lastly, number 3, facilitating the orderly completion of the search, as detainees' self-interest may induce them to open locked doors or lock containers to avoid the use of force on behalf of the police officers. And now, for my thoughts on the matter. In this case, you could say it's rather unfortunate for those people in the house who are truly innocent. That being said, the warrant that was signed was due to 2 things: gang activity, as well as the possibility of illegal immigrants, thus the implementation of the INS officer during the search. And so the holding in this case makes sense to me because the warrant, as it was issued, related to not only possible gang activity, but also the immigration status of these potential gang members was pertinent. And thus, the questioning by the officers present, the regular officers as well as the INS, would be reasonable. Thank you so much for tuning into my video today. If you have any additional questions or comments, please feel free to leave them underneath, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you, and have a great day.